if you're on the music channel, I'm integrating some more of the knowledge aspects, the that part. Um, what I want you to do is you either know somebody, um, or fuck it, you know somebody. They done called you crazy, right? Because this YNet 7, this Pasha Paro. So if you rocking with me, you going through the same stuff I'm going through in your own way, right? So you've had people call you crazy because you think, simply because you think. I mean, when you reduce everything else, it's because you think, and they don't. I'm not saying they don't think at all. I'm saying they don't think long enough to see beyond the benefits that's put before them, the carrot on the dangling stick, or their comfort zone. So here's what we're gonna do, because for decades I've been saying, and it's ironic because you would think more people would say, hey, Pasha says things and then they happen. And we fought with Pasha. That's why a lot of people you don't see them with me right now, because they spent so much energy fighting against what I was saying, and then it came true. And then now, how do they show face when they were the resistance that led their community off the cliff, right? The community don't know that because they were brainwashed. So as long as they keep separate from me, they can feel confident, because I'm a reminder of, we could be in a totally different position right now if you had fucked with me. Your community could be in a totally different position right now if you had just worked together with me instead of being focused on the fake currency paper. But anyway, let's get to the topic at hand today. This is new for North Carolina, and I want to know if the same thing has either already happened in your state, or if it's and when I say your state, I mean the little physical on the map portion. I know the jurisdiction may or may not apply to you in your natural person. However, I just want to speak on, is this what's happening around you? Has it already happened? And if not, then look forward to this spreading. Just like I'm not gonna say North Carolina is the first state of the United States corporation that's doing this, or has done this. However, if they are one of the first states to do this, consider that this is what's coming to you. And then, just like the marijuana quote unquote use, one state approved it, then everybody was like, oh, our state, and it spreads. Now everybody wants their state to do it, right? So if North Carolina is one of the first states to do this or not, I'm not saying they are. Consider this is what's coming to your state soon, and then I'm going to show you why there's a great, or how, or what makes there a great reality that this is going to all be a beta test for for what you think is the national level through the United States jurisdiction as well. So let's rock on that. All right. First thing, let's look at the actual situation. All right, so we got here's the article. I mean, there's plenty of articles, you got different sources. I just like to show my source because I feel like that's the right thing to do in case you want to go back, follow up on your own, or look, into it more. I'm not one of those people that go get information from people and then pretend it's me so that you can like, oh, Pasha's this, Pasha. No, Pasha has, everybody's well, not everybody, but many people are working towards a better future for humanity. So, but anyway, in this case, Newsweek, which is a name that many of you may trust, is sharing this information, and this just went down in within the jurisdiction of North Carolina State recently as they passed their budget. Okay, so let's take a look at it. The title says Republican secret police sparks fight with Democrats. Now, I want you to pay attention to this particular kind of irrelevant, I guess it's an advert stuck in here, right? But it says right here, I'm not even gonna play it, but it says President Joe Biden has approved an additional $9 billion in student debt relief in October. And I want you just to remember that, and I'll get to why that's important in a few moments, because a lot of people, for those that are trying to make a difference in the community and spread information and let people notice what we need to do and the direction we need to go, a lot of people are being, called a lot of stuff. But the reason that the people are doing that to them in that response is because a lot of people feel like, oh, it doesn't affect me, or this won't affect me, or how is this going to affect me, or what's the benefit of you being saying that you don't want to be a U.S. citizen, or whatever the case is, right? So here's what I want you to hang on to that for. Now let's continue. So the article goes into saying Republicans in North Carolina are facing criticism after including a measure, and this is about a 3-minute read, it says there. So I'm gonna break it down a little bit. Then I got 2 things I want to show you after that, and then we'll wrap this up. I'm not gonna be totally long, and I want to make sure that everybody's phones are clear in 80 minutes from now when the alarm goes off. So because it's October 4th. All right, per their calendar. So Republicans in North Carolina are facing criticism for including a measure in their state budget critics say will create a secret police force. Now, North Carolina's state budget is set to expand the authority of the Joint Legislative Commission on Governmental Operations, a legislative investigative committee, right? The changes will allow the committee to investigate state and local government agencies or non-state entity receiving public funds. Now, this is the critical, crucial statement here, okay? Because people will read this and they'll say, oh, committee to investigate state and local funds agencies, and they'll go, oh, receiving public funds, and they'll be like, oh, that's not me. Okay, we're gonna get to that in a moment. So the budget will allow the GOP control committee to access any documents or records related to any contract awarded by a state agency, including but not limited to records related to the drafting and approval of the contract, and documents and records of the contractor that the commission determines will assist in verifying accounts or will contain data affecting fees or performance, according to its text. Now, I will give you a breakdown, but I'm gonna let you read what Newsweek said in a moment here. All right. Democrats have, and you know me. Doesn't matter, Democrat, Republic, they're United States entity. Okay, so they're still on the United States side of the fence versus the American we the people. All right, but here we go. So Democrats have raised concern about this measure being for entertainment purposes. Democrats have raised concerns about this measure being a government overstep, arguing that the text would state allow agents to enter any government contractor or subcontractors' homes to access these documents. Republicans have argued the committee's expanded scope is necessary to ensure greater oversight following criticism over states' response to COVID-19 pandemic and recent hurricanes. Now, this is where you have to accept that, people think they know what democracy is until they find out what democracy is. So when all of those people were up there complaining about, and I'm not pro-Trump or I'm not against Trump, I'm neutral because that's United States shit. But what I'm saying is when they were all like, hey, go in there and do this and get, okay, right. Y'all wanted to, they hyped y'all all up. They went in there. Well, guess what? Now you opened up a can of worms. where they gonna come into your house too now. I'm saying it starts in North Carolina, right? I'm not saying they're the first. Remember, I'm not saying they the first do this, but this is how this happens. You wanted to, they hyped you all up, got you all emotionally charged to rah 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 rah. Didn't realize that rah 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 rah, they're gonna rah 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 you next. All right, because now you said you wanted this. This is the danger of not being in control of your emotions, and this is why you hear the American people saying the United States citizens will be used against we the people of America. It's not personal. It's not personal. It's the fact that you got that they can't they don't understand, they don't comprehend what is happening, so they don't see the chess moves. And that is why the divide is worsening. Because all of this stuff, we see it, we can read, we can comprehend, and then when we try to share it with those people, they're so blinded and emotionally attached to their benefits, their perceived status, their little whatever it is that got them emotionally thinking they're better than the next person, that they would rather be a part of that system, a part of that destroying force, so that they can have the peace. They're finding peace of mind and in the moment, not realizing that it's destroying them long term and their future generations. So let's continue. All right. So Democrats have concern that government overstepped, blah, 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 right? All right. Hurricanes, they blame it on that, but this is their way into your home, into your life, into your home. So State Representative Allison, compared the investigative body to a secret police force during debate on the budget on the floor of the House. She warned that it would give carte blanche to legislators and legislative employees to look into any entity that receives state funding, according to the News Observer. Now, up here, right, when I said this is how they trick people with what, I ain't gonna say they trick people because they didn't trick you. You just tricked these people trick themselves because they think they assume they know what the words mean, and in reality they don't. And then they call us crazy because we're speaking about the truth, and they want to tell us, oh, that's your truth or that's her truth, because that's all they know is to defend what they believe, because they don't have any idea themselves. They just regurgitating what someone wants them to believe, so they don't know. So then they hate you because the whole bliss thing. So anyway, let's go with this. Let's keep going. So where are we at here? Up here, when they said the changes will allow the committee to investigate state and local government agencies, most people are gonna go, that's not me. And then they go, or non-state entity receiving public funds, and most people are gonna say that's not me either, because they don't know what these words really mean. They don't know that most of them believe that they are entity, and they're operating under the pretense for entertainment purposes that they are the entity that is property of the United States. So they are the non-state entity in their mind. They just don't know that they are, or they don't know the definition of, or they don't know the definition of receiving and public funds. They don't know what public funds are. All right. So down here where it says, it starts to get a little clearer, because it says to look into any entity that receives state funding. All right. So the secret police force can even come into home, for example, or the secret, I guess, is anyway. So this secret police force can even come into, for example, a law firm that receives state funding for court-appointed lawyers. This now means that the sanctity of the attorney-client privilege is now defunct, she said. State Senator Greg Meyer warned that the budget would give government ops broad. It's funny that they got ops on there, but anyway, the budget would give gov ops broad, intrusive, and punitive powers to investigate any state entity or any non-state entity that has pretty much any connection to the state of North Carolina at all. The social media platform formerly known as Twitter. That's where he posted it. Here's the post. And now you're starting to get the breakdown of what state funding really translates, because in order to get state funding, you have to have a connection to the state of North Carolina, right? So blah blah blah. Here's the article. It repeats what he said there. So let's say you're a subcontractor to a contractor with a state agency. Get ready to turn over your docs, he wrote. Republicans, however, have defended the legislation against the Democratic criticism. And I don't know why this is here, because I haven't figured out why this makes sense yet. But, let's talk about it together. It says, why is it taking so long for these people to get back their houses? I guess this is relative to when the hurricanes came through or something. I'm not sure. But why is it taking so long for these people to get back in their houses? What is taking so long? So when our Gov Ops committee went in and started asking these questions, they were stonewalled as well. So State House Speaker Tim Moore, a Republican, said, according to a report from Raleigh-based television news station WNCN. So basically, they were asking questions, I guess, during the hurricane or something, and they didn't want to answer them questions, which is ironic because that's what they do. They don't want to answer your questions, right? So kind of hypocritical there. But Senate Leader Phil Berger, so that's why they're saying, oh, so now we're gonna just throw this curveball in. If you get any state funding, now you're under the jurisdiction of this secret police force, basically, right? Senate Leader Phil Berger, also a Republican, told the news station that expanding the committee's authority is not a partisan thing. So it is something that is designed to assist the General Assembly and all members of the General Assembly in carrying out our constitutional obligations to oversee the money currency that is being spent, he said, blah, 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 right? So that's the Newsweek article. Now, let's do, where I want to take you next, right? Let's go here with it real quick. And I just want to cover the first couple paragraphs here. 1 second here. Don't. All right. So this is the Chronicle, and they're covering, North Carolina state government passes $30 billion budget for fiscal year, right? So here's what I want to cover with you guys. So amid bipartisan tensions, the Republican-controlled North Carolina state government passed a new $30 billion budget for the 23-24 fiscal year. The 22-23 budget expired on June 30th, and the legislature was tasked with designing a new one. The current fiscal year began July 1st, but the new budget, which provides the primary source of funding for several of the state's government's chief functions, including education, healthcare, and infrastructure, wasn't passed until September 22nd, about 3 months later. So Democratic Governor Roy Cooper announced that he will allow the new budget to become law without his signature, but that he considers the new budget to be a bad budget that seriously shortchanges our schools, prioritizes power grabs, keeps shady backroom deals secret, and blatantly violates the Constitution, according to a statement he released September 22nd. That's the governor's words, or your governor's words, right? So what I want you to consider now is, what is state funding? Okay? What is state funding? Let me see how I want to do this. I guess I'll do it like this for you guys. You know, like I said, I'm not one of the fake people. I take notes because I want the information you get to be thorough, and I want to make sure you get everything. You know, the worst thing in the beginning for me was when I used to be like, oh man, I get off the live or I get off the video, I'm like, damn, I meant to tell them this. Or it's the same thing with a call. You know, you smile on the phone with, or you're talking to somebody in public. And that's actually why I started making these videos, because I found myself, people have the same questions. Many, you know, different people have the same questions. They have the same interests. They have the same views of problems. They just don't realize that they all are connected in that light, that they have the same question that someone else do. So what the variable was that, hey, if I'm talking to you in the store, you know, if you're the employee, you only got 2 minutes, but you're kind of interested, but you're distracted, and you don't, you know, this. If I'm talking to you and you're a customer, you might have more than 2 minutes, but you don't have 25 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like, it varies. And what happened was, these are great investments on a grassroots level to conduct the, you know, to help spread the information, to give people a realistic opinion, instead of them thinking that they're making a choice from limited information that's provided to them, right? Purposely, as a psych op, right? So that's part of why I started making these videos, because then I can say, hey, okay, cool, you know what? I'm just gonna send you this link. Boom. Now you get the full 40-minute discussion, 20-minute discussion, hour and a half long conversation when it's convenient for you, right? And then for people that are facing such feedback, negative feedback, you know, or they're being outed from the family or from people that work for their being able to think, they can say, hey, well, here, look, just check this link out, I'm gonna send you this. Now they don't have to be seen as the bad guy. Pasha can, right? But anyway, here's what I want to do. I want to let me get you this information here. All right, so yeah, let's do it like this. Okay, so I put together this list of just a basic list of what could be considered state funding. Okay, so grants, and when you hear, I know people be like, oh, Pasha used to always talk about the people that are getting grants and he's a hater and did it. No, I'm trying to entertain the people to understand, or to see the trade-off. Like, you talking about someone, like when you talk about a sellout, you think about someone, let's say in the music industry, right? You think about someone who goes and becomes mainstream, they sell their soul or whatever, or they sell out the fact that they maybe want to talk about this political stuff or make the community better, but instead they're doing club shake your ass music, and you call them a sellout. And I think a lot of people who do that, they only do that because they're mad that they're selling out for $50 million in the long run. I mean, even if you want to call it a sellout, what I'm saying is they're selling out for $50 million, which all the music is started off as a sellout because it's designed to sell something, a product, whether it's the lure of the alcohol at the club and the party and the drink and the girls and the women, or it's Nikes for Nelly. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It was the best way to do it is, if you're an artist, is if you have a brand or a business, or like me, I'm pumping knowledge, then your music needs to reflect your product. Then you make music that advertises your product, But anyway, that's another discussion. So they're selling out. They're mad at the major artists, the mainstream artists, because they're selling out and they're in a good deal, making millions of dollars, right? Because they're subliminally or subconsciously they're aware of the fact that they sold out for 40,000. So they're only mad that the person that's making millions of currency fake notes has more fake notes than they got, and their sellout was totally different, right? Okay, so let's look at this. Grants are typically non-repayable funds provided to companies or individuals for specific purposes such as research, development, business expansion, education, or community projects. So forget the agenda part of it. Like the agenda of, we're only going to give you the grant if you're, doing this what you may or may not realize is going to long-term set us up to help destroy your community later in the future. Right? Forget that part. The fact that you have the grant now makes you under the jurisdiction. And this is what I was always trying to tell people, especially those that you may have thought was close to me that are now talking shit about me because I said something to them about grants, right? But here you go. So loans, state-funded loans may be offered to businesses and individuals at favorable terms, including low interest rates to support economic development, housing, and education. So look at the timing of the PPP, right? You got a PPP loan, guess what? Right? I'll get to that in a moment. Subsidies are financial assistance provided by the government to reduce the cost of goods or services for specific sectors or individuals. Common examples include agricultural societies and energy societies. So guess what? You bought those potatoes last week with a coupon at Whole Foods, and you got the little card that tracks all your purchases. How long, if it's not already, when you trace that back, where did that coupon come from? Are all of them just the company saying, hey, we just gonna take a loss on this? Or how many of those coupons go back to a government funded situation, a state or local funded program, subsidy? All right. So I don't care if it's potatoes or pasta or what. And then look at your energy subsidies. Here's the one that's going to get most people. Tax credits. State governments often offer. Remember when I said most people are like, oh, hey, that doesn't apply to me. Okay, look. State governments often offer tax credits to businesses and individuals to incentivize certain behaviors or investments, such as renewable energy projects, job creation, or education expenses. So basically, if you file taxes, and I'm not a tax advisor or professional, this is not advice, this is entertainment. But this is why you hear, if you file taxes and claim any and do anything more than that zero, like that 1 through 9, like what was it, like 1 is hit a household or something. So if you claim hit a household, you just got a tax credit. All your baby mamas, right? All your baby fathers hitting you up talking about, hey, you let's run the, do the little game with the and then this year you get the and then next year I get the right? Or maybe we split the right? All of that, right? Tax credit. This is why I say the women are really not realizing the danger that they have put the whole society in, because they're receiving benefits. They're seduced, they're enticed by the benefits. So F the world to them. Their local and US citizen government is daddy, is husband. This is why the women have no loyalty to the men. This is why the men can't protect the women as a whole, because they're in bed with the government. And until they realize what they're actually doing when they accept the college tuition, what is it called? Scholarship, and think that they're better than their male counterpart in the same community, they don't understand the game that they're being ran on them, and they don't understand how they're being used as pawns, or they do and they appreciate the opportunity to destroy you all. You gotta look at it that way. But tax credits. So if you put anything other than that 0, and you get any sort of 1 through 9 on there, this includes you. You are now under the jurisdiction. All right. And again, this is speaking about North Carolina. I'm not saying they're the first or only to do it. But I'm gonna show you how this is gonna have a very good potential to play out in the future. So I'm gonna speed up through these a little bit. Now that you got an idea of what this actually means, you can expand on it in your mind. But I want to cover all these, and then you can always stop the video, look through, read them, go from there. Talk with your friends and family about this, because there's tons of stuff that I didn't include on these lists, right? But here you go. Vouchers and scholarships. Oh, I just mentioned that. Education vouchers and scholarships are a form of state funding. Social welfare programs. Government provided financial assistance to individuals and families in need. So now, all you people that have been on some sort of welfare program, you had those dumbass motherfuckers trying to talk shit about you for getting food stamps or being on Section 8. Now this is how you get to see that they don't realize, this is how dumb they are. They don't realize they in the same boat as you. They filed taxes and put a 4 on there. They in the same boat as you. They got a scholarship. They talking to you about, you're not contributing to society. You need to go get a job and everything. And I went to school. I paid $90 billion for my, or they got a scholarship, or they went on, what I mean? They don't realize how dumb they are, because they're the same as you. They're just addicted to a different drug from the same dealer. Like, you can tell the people who aren't really from the streets. Like, I ain't gonna say I lived in this. I'm from the hood. You know what I mean? So those that know that the dealer might have had weed, coke, and crack. The people that aren't from that environment, they don't think that the same way they got you addicted. I'm using the word addicted. Don't be offended. I'm using it by definition. They have you addicted. They put you in a position where this was one of the few options you saw. And then once they got you hooked onto it, now you're addicted. Then they make it hard for you to get off of the drug. Oh, well, if you make $10 more a month, now you're going to lose everything. So it behooves you to stay in the position that you are. Like, this is psychological warfare. Okay? Those dumbass motherfuckers think that they're better than you because they were addicted to a fucking scholarship. They couldn't hang with you outside when you were smoking weed because they thought it was going to fuck up their scholarship. They talk bad about you when you was younger because they were trying to be collegiate, so that in the future they could file tax credits so that they could still be in the same position as you and just not realize it. That's how fucking dumb this shit is. That's why you see the frustration in the YNet 7 people and the American people, because the dumb shit that the United States mentality is doing is eventually, no matter how much we try to let them be, they keep wanting to encroach on our shit, on our freedoms, on our rights. And then because your boss at work is so used to dealing with slave mentalities, when you come to work with knowledge, now you the enemy. Now you go home with PTSD just because you think, and your boss doesn't want you to think. They want you to be dumb or naive like the rest of the people that they're, or pretend to be, so that they can control you. Again, it's just another addiction from the same dealer. Research and development, R&D funding. So state funding may be allocated to support research and innovation. Think about how far that goes. Your cell phone, you got a cell phone? Who funded that research? You think your calls, your text messages are going to be protected? You think your emails are safe? Who started the internet? Who funded that shit? Military? Small business support. Many states offer programs to support small business, including grants, loans, and technical assistance. Housing assistance. Self-explanatory. Infrastructure investment. Right? Environmental and energy incentives. Oh, you got them solar panels, did you? Oh, you getting that incentive on your tax rebate? You get a tax credit for that? Oh, you thought you were better than someone because your house is $6.4 million and right? Oh, but you got a tax credit for your solar panels. Oh, guess what? You the same. So when you see people like me and people like me, right? I'm not the only one. Like you, some of you struggling because they chose not to do A, B, C, and D, and then you want to talk bad about them, like, oh well, he could or she could, and then I'll be glad when they, some people are waiting on you to get evicted so they can celebrate because it'll make them feel better about being a slave. In the mental, if nothing else. Because that's how weak they are. They got to watch you fall so they can feel strong. In the boiling water, frog. So, arts and cultural grants. State funding may be provided to support the arts, cultural arts organizations, and creative projects that contribute to a vibrant community. It's easy to get this stuff. I mean, I ain't gonna say it's easy. It's not as hard as you may think to get these grants. You can get grants created that don't exist. Like, it's not that people like me don't know this stuff. It's that we know that if you accept this under certain terms and don't know how to articulate certain differences, then you go into their jurisdiction. Now, certain elements, like the 14th Amendment protects it regardless of your nationality, but to do unnecessary stuff puts you at unnecessary risk. So you got people that went and got grants that are laughing at you because you struggling to make it happen for real. See, that's the United States. Oh, I got a grant. I'm doing, $200,000 a year. No, you're not doing $200,000 a year. You're being given $200,000 a year. And then you want to talk shit about the person who's struggling to make $15,000 a year on their own, with marketing expenses, with overhead, with all the stuff they have to pay for out their own pocket or the business pocket themselves. The dumbest shit I've seen is people who got a whole household. They got them a spouse. They got kids that are having their little summer jobs or having little old enough to have jobs, and they're making them pay rent and bills, and they got all this help, and they're talking about, look what I did. No. You didn't do that. Y'all collectively did that. So now you got people in your own community, and instead of helping the person that might be what the community needs, you want to see them fall. You want to laugh at them because they're doing it all themselves. They're doing the marketing. They're creating the thing that they're going to market. They're building this. They're building it. They're doing everything by themselves. And you feel like you're better than them because you got a team of people bullshitting. You got a team of people bullshitting, and you think you better than the person that's making a percentage of the progress, what appears to be the progress, but they're doing it on their own. This is why y'all are insane. Those people are insane. It's literally like, this is why we look at the United States as a huge mental health operation. Like it's a huge insane asylum, because they've got your minds, the minds of those people so fucked up that they really think that they're different than you because of the drug they're on. Export assistance. Some governments offer support to businesses looking to expand to international markets through export grants, trade missions, and export promotion programs. Workforce development. State-funded programs can provide job training, apprenticeships, and employment services to help individuals gain new skills and find employment. So applaud those people in the community who have set up, work reentry programs within the community, especially for like felons and prisoners. However, consider the fact of at what cost, if you're receiving funding, consider the fact of at what cost those funds come with now, because and that's not just to pick on them, and all of the people that I spoke to about this sort of thing 5 and 10 years ago, none of them understood what I was speaking about. All of them said something was wrong with Pasha. But when Newsweek puts out the article, one, most of them aren't going to be around to read it. They don't know it happened for another 5 or 10 years until it affects them and their family and their friends. But then they'll just conform, because those are the weak people who actually believe they're strong because someone told them being strong was staying in a place where you shouldn't be. And they believe that instead of doing something different, like changing the environment or removing yourself from the environment. And the issue for us Americans is that it's kind of like the guys are stripped, because you can't remove yourself from the environment, because everywhere you go within what they think is the United States, there's more United States citizens who are equally as conditioned mentally in their brain control or mind control. Check out my last song. That's why it's called Mind Control. That's real music. I mean, I'm not going to say that anybody else's music is less, but I mean, it's a real topic that needs to be had. A conversation needs to be had. All right. That's why they want to suppress it locally and abroad, beyond. So anyway, disaster relief and recovery. So during national disasters and emergencies, state governments may allocate funds to assist individuals and businesses affected by the event. So there you go, the whole Eastern Coast with those hurricanes. Oh, your insurance company paid out? They did that? Oh, okay. Well, that was probably under a disaster relief and recovery. So your home that was repaired, well, I think that says enough, right? About who now has jurisdiction over that. So agricultural focused funding may include subsidies for farmers, research grants, etc. Technology and innovative, right? Innovation centers. So the state often um, establishes technology hubs and innovation centers to support startups and emerging technologies. So your phone records, emails, like we said earlier, healthcare and medical research. Funding is allocated for healthcare facilities, medical research, and public health initiatives. Um, yeah, like the last 2 years prior to this, y'all thought. Congratulations to the people who were like, maybe there's something wrong with getting stuck, but additional kudos to those who realized that that shit didn't come without a cost. Now, here's the other list over here: local nonprofit organizations, community colleges and trade schools, public libraries, public transportation systems, environmental conservation agencies, emergency services, public health initiatives, infrastructure maintenance and repair, consumer protection agencies, legal aid and public defenders, agricultural inspection and regulation, housing authorities, community development initiatives, education support services, scientific research and innovation. Like I said, pause the video and read up on these if you like to. So pretty much, all right, everything that's on that list, if you are a part of that, or you are quote unquote married to someone that's a part of it, or you are in a relationship with someone that's a part of it, or you live next door to someone that's a part of it, and you think that you're an American and not a United States citizen, then now everyone on that list is now even more likely to be the pawn they use against you. Okay? Because they're going to fall in line with the quote unquote secret police, right? They're going to give your records. They're going to testify against you. They're going to tell on you. See? So think about that for a moment. It's not personal that we ask the United States citizens, do they know who they really are or not? And it's not personal that we have to avoid them, friends and family, quote unquote, because they don't see that they have been made weaponized. Like I said, your neighbor called the police on you for cutting your grass without a mask. I'm not saying yours did, but you saw the videos. This was actually happening. This was a real thing. Like Karens and whatever the male equivalent of Karen is, they were really hype. So as soon as they get the green light from their little secret police or the United States, whatever, you think they're your friends. One last thing I want to go over here, and this is going to close it out. Appreciate y'all. Let's look at this. Which one is this? This one. All right. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I thought I showed it, but maybe I didn't. So what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to go back to, let me go back to this for you. Because if it didn't show, I just want to make sure that you can at least review it at your leisure. Let me just do this real quick just to make sure. Yeah, I don't think it showed. All right, so here's the list. Here's the list here. So take time, pause this video, look over this, read it, expand on it for yourself. We'll go from there. All right. See, I told you, I'll be forgetting every now and then. All right. Here's the last thing. And let me make sure I put this on the screen for you. Okay. Now, you're like, Pasha, this is North Carolina. It's local. We in Texas. We in Nevada. We're in Pennsylvania. This doesn't have any effect on us. Well, okay. Today, like I said, excuse me. All right, so I just wanted to go over like this one thing, because you know that there's a paper like this for everything that could possibly happen in life, right? But anyway, on this overview of federal disaster assistance, in the first paragraph, it says the federal assistance is available to supplement the resources of state, local, and voluntary agencies in major disasters. Federal assistance is available to supplement the resources of state, local, and voluntary agencies in major disasters. So when you saw that list and it spoke of disaster aid and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know, maybe this is talking about natural disasters. Maybe it's talking about financial, like 2008 or whatever, PPP loans, you know, whatever, right? If this starts to become a thing, like I said, I don't know if North Carolina is the first or not state to do this, but if this becomes a thing on a state level, then you got to accept the fact that it's only a matter of time before it becomes a thing on a federal level, or it's already on the federal level and they haven't explained that to you guys, and the states are now starting to partake in some incentive to participate in such a fashion. Pasha Paro, appreciate you. Enjoy.